Alright, also look, welcome back to the channel, and guess what? It's fight week, and UFC 316 is going down this weekend live at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, with the main event featuring the former undisputed bantamweight champion of the world, Sugar Sean O'Malley, taking on the current undisputed bantamweight champion of the world, as well as the controversial 135-pound greatest of all time, the Energizer Bunny himself, Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. And now, in today's video, we're going to be going over my main card breakdown analysis as well as predictions on UFC 316's main card, as well as also speed running through my early prelims as well as regular prelim predictions as well. So, with that being said, without further ado, let's get right in to the video. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 3,000 subscribers by May. I'll deeply appreciate you. Make sure you join the official UFC Discord, link in the description. Alright, so look, for this video, I'm gonna be speedrunning through my early prelims as well as my regular prelim predictions, and then later getting into more detailed breakdowns once we've reached the main card. Now that that's out of the way, let's begin with the curtain jerker. The first fight of the night, where we've got a bout between Marquel Medemos taking on Mark Chowinski, where I've got Marquel Medemos taking this fight by unanimous decision. Next up on the card, we've got a lightweight bout between my boy Quillan Sakild taking on Yanel Ashmush, where I've got Quillan Sakild by first to second round KO against Yanel Ashmush. Next up on the card, we've got a featherweight bout between Jeke Sargi taking on Jo Song Yo, where I've got Jo Song Yo to take this dub by either a first to second round KO or TKO. Next up on the card, we've got a women's flyweight bout between Irina De Silva taking on the Joker, Wang Kong, where I've got Wang Kong to take the dub by unanimous decision victory. Now, heading into the prelim fights, where we've got a welterweight bout between Chaos Williams taking on Andres Gustafsson, where I've got Andres Gustafsson to take this dub by unanimous decision. Next up on the card, we've got a heavyweight bout between Sergey Spivak versus Waldo Cortez Acosta, where I've got Waldo Cortez Acosta winning this fight by either a second round KO or TKO. Next up on the card, we've got a light heavyweight bout between Azmat Mirzakhanov taking on Brenson Ribeiro, where I've got Azmat Mirzakhanov to take the dub by unanimous decision. And now last, but certainly not least, for the prelim fights, where we've got a flyweight bout between my most favorite flyweight on the roster, Joshua Van, taking on Bruno Silva, where I'll be taking Josh Van to win this fight by either a second round KO or TKO or a unanimous decision victory. And you see, Josh Van has been on an absolute roll lately, and to think he's only 23 years old. But, I think before this fight, Josh Van has been seen as, a promising prospect or whatnot in the flyweight division. But, at this point in time, he's clearly emerging as a legit flyweight contender. And I'm predicting it now, that with a couple more wins, he could be knocking on the door of a flyweight title shot very, very soon. But in this matchup, I will be going with Josh Van to win this fight by most likely a unanimous decision victory. Bruno Silva, on the other hand, seems to be trending downward in his career, kind of. I mean, he looked solid in his recent outing, but Manel Kape really exposed him, especially in the speed department. And I believe that Josh Van will have a significant edge in the striking department, particularly in his boxing. And while Josh Van doesn't necessarily possess that one-shot nuclear KO ability, his volume as well as his technical sharpness as well as prowess should be able to overwhelm Bruno Silva. That is why I've got Josh Van winning this fight by either a second round KO or TKO, or most likely a unanimous decision victory. And now for the main card, where we've got a welterweight matchup between Vicente Luque versus Mr. 4570 himself, Kevin Trailblazer Holland. And look, if you're picking against Kevin Holland in this matchup, I get it. Pretty understandable. I mean, his takedown defense has been a talking point for years, but, let's actually look at this matchup for what it is. Vicente Luque, might have the submission resume or whatnot, but, he's not necessarily out here shooting doubles or chaining takedowns. He's the type of guy who kind of capitalizes after the chaos. Drops someone, latches onto their neck, and then grapples for that submission. A sort of opportunistic grappler, so to speak, not a controlled wrestler. And, that matters because Kevin Holland's looked so much more comfortable stuffing down takedowns at 170 than he did at 185. And, on the feet, it's Holland's world completely. I mean, his reach, his timing, the way he works on the outside, his perimeter game, it's all going to be problems for Vicente Luque if he's not able to finish Holland quick. And yes, Vicente Luque is dangerous or whatnot, and definitely does have a notable killer instinct, but even if he does land something big, I do trust Kevin Holland's durability to hold up, especially over a 3-round period or even less. I do think that Kevin Holland, if he can keep the distance and picks his shots correctly, can get the late finish. I think he's got all the tools he needs in order to get the job done here. That is why I've got Kevin Holland to win this fight by either a first to second round KO or TKO against Vicente Luque. Next up on the card, we've got the matchup that everyone and their mother has been talking about. And that's the bantamweight bout between Mario Bautista versus the UFC debut of the former Bellator bantamweight champion, Patchy No Love Mix. And look, y'all, let's not act like this is finna be some evenly matched debut, because Patchy Mix is that guy. I mean, his wrestling, legit elite. His grappling, absolutely ridiculous. And look, don't get it twisted, because while Mario Bautista is solid, let's not pretend that he's never struggled in the wrestling department before. I mean, Damon Blackshear had his moments against him, and he's not even half the grappler that Patchy Mix is. And what I like about Patchy Mix is that he doesn't just shoot and pray. He sets up his takedowns, his entries, wears guys down, and once he's on top, good luck trying to get him off of you, because he's absolutely suffocating. And even if this does stay standing longer than I expect it to, I actually think that Patchy Mix has got the edge in the striking department as well. I mean, he's patient, calm under pressure, and uses his striking to create openings for those inevitable takedowns. I do see this one playing out with Patchy Mix dragging Mario Bautista into deep waters, grinding him down and either subbing him or dominating him positionally. That is why I've got Patchy Mix beating Mario Bautista by second round submission. Next up on the card, we've got a middleweight bout between the Taco Man Kelvin Gastelum versus Salty Joe Body Bags Pyfer, where I've got Joe Body Bags by either a second to third round TKO or a unanimous decision victory over Kelvin Gastelum. And look, Joe Pyfer's got all the physical tools he needs in order to win this fight. A big frame, solid power, as well as some sneaky grappling tricks. But, the real question here going into this matchup is how Joe Pyfer is going to approach this one. Because, if he rushes in, swinging for the fences, trying to snag some type of highlight reel out of Kelvin Gastelum, then the likelihood of him blowing it and it backfiring skyrocket exponentially. Kelvin Gastelum's not going away easily. The dude's been in there with some of those monsters at 185 and has never broke. But if Joe Pyfer comes in there with a game plan, mixes in his takedowns, using his size to control the clinch, staying patient, then there's no doubt in my mind that he can snag the dub here against Kelvin Gastelum. Gastelum is just so undersized for this weight class, but because he's a lazy shit that doesn't want to cut down to 170, then he's out here fighting these huge 185ers for no reason. And Joe Pyfer's got the athletic edge. Overall, though, I just believe that it's all about approach here. Because if Joe Pyfer fights this fight smart, then he easily takes this one. That is why I've got Joe Pyfer winning this fight by either a second to third round TKO or a unanimous decision victory. And now for the co-main event of the evening, where we've got a women's bantamweight championship bout between the Venezuelan vixen Juliana Pena versus the two-time Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison. And in this fight, I'm gonna be going with Kayla Harrison taking the dub on this one. And you see, while Juliana Pena is a two-time undisputed champ, when you look at her skill set, it's kind of hard not to wonder how she even got here, honestly. I mean, her striking's clunky, she's got zero head movement, and there's just no precision or accuracy behind any of her shots. She basically just throws and hopes to land. While, Kayla Harrison, on the other hand, while she isn't a powerhouse, she sorta doesn't need to be. I mean, she's not going to go out there and try to stand and trade for long. I mean, she's, going to go in there and try to close the distance, get in the inside, and ragdoll Juliana Pena. I feel like the only danger that Juliana Pena offers in this fight against Kayla Harrison is maybe catching something from the bottom. Like, maybe a Hail Mary armbar or a fluke rear naked choke like she did, the Lioness. But Kayla Harrison's grappling IQ is just far too advanced for something like that, and I think she's just far too positionally sound, physically dominant, and unless something truly weird happens, then this should be just 2 to 3 rounds of Kayla Harrison doing whatever she wants to Juliana Pena. And, while it might go to the scorecards, it'll be a statement win nonetheless. That is why I've got Kayla Harrison beating Juliana Pena by either a second to third round TKO with volume strikes or a unanimous decision victory. And now for the main event of the evening. We've got the rematch. Some might say it's about time, and others might say it's a bit undeserved, but ultimately, this is the one that decides it all. The former champion, Sugar Sean O'Malley versus the current undisputed Merab the Machine Dvalishvili. And in this matchup, I will be going with Merab Dvalishvili to once again get the job done and make a statement. And I think this time around, it'll be a lot more dominant than the last. Because you see, in their first fight, Merab was sorta hesitant early. I mean, he gave O'Malley too much space, respected the striking far too much, and didn't fully press on the gas until the later rounds. But, once he did, the momentum shifted immensely. And now that he's seen how O'Malley reacts to his pressure as well as his relentless wrestling style and pace, I do expect Merab to come in aggressive from the jump and impose his usual chaotic and relentless style. And, yes, while you may bring up the fact that Sugar Sean is now fully healthy after his hip surgery or whatnot, I don't think that'll mean much of a difference this time around. I mean, Merab Dvalishvili is not the kind of fighter you can just keep at bay for 25 straight minutes. Not when he's chaining takedowns, crashing the pocket, and consistently making you defend. But then again, Sugar Sean absolutely has the power as well as precision to land a clean shot that'll put Merab's lights straight out, especially early. But Merab's pace, his durability, as well as his cardio are on a completely different level, and no one in the UFC is able to maintain that type of output for 5 full rounds while also pushing forward at the same time. But if Merab can drag Sugar Sean into a dogfight, into a grind, then I don't see Sugar keeping up late. I believe that his best shot is an early knockout while he's still fresh, he's still dry, and he's still full of energy in order to fuel that nuclear pinpoint precise shot. But if that doesn't happen, then Merab Dvalishvili will break him down round by round. That is why I've got Merab the Machine Dvalishvili remaining and still against Sugar Sean O'Malley by unanimous decision victory. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below what are your guys' overall thoughts on UFC 316's full card. Who do you guys have for the co-main and main events? Do you have Sugar Sean O'Malley or Merab the Machine Dvalishvili? And for the co-main, do you have the Venezuelan vixen Juliana Pena or the two-time Olympic gold medalist Kayla Harrison? Let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.